Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Ben Braver and the Incredible Exploding Kid by Marcus Emerson. Narrated by Ramon de Ocampo. Prologue. 60 miles per hour. The top speed of a Vespa scooter. I'm not a doctor, but I don't think 60 miles an hour is fast enough to outrun an exploding atom bomb. Headmaster Kepler was riding passenger, shouting instructions on how to operate a vehicle. His words. "I know how to drive a scooter!" I shouted, cranking the Vespa's handle so hard that it snapped. Oh, farts. So, there we were, coasting on a dying scooter, seconds away from an atomic explosion that would take out Kepler Academy and the city of Lost Nation. I can confidently say that was the worst day of my short, little life. Thousands were about to die. All my friends were about to die. I was about to die. And it was 100% my fault. Chapter 1. Sunday. 6 months earlier. I sat alone in the passenger seat of a self-driving Volkswagen Beetle. Summer was over, and I was headed back to Kepler Academy, a super-secret school for kids with superpowers. It was like the X-Mansion, but without all the spandex. A whole summer had passed since I saved the academy from an army of plant people created by a woman named Abigail Cutter. She was all kinds of crazy. With a loogie, some dirt, and a strand of your hair, Abigail could grow your evil twin, which she controlled with her mind. They were horrifying plant zombies who ate earthworms by the handful, or, as the greatest scientific minds called them, worm-eaters. Arise, my babies! Premium-grade nightmare fuel. My car had been driving all day, so the school had to be close. It should have been all Colorado mountains and trees outside my window. But it wasn't. An empty desert wasteland stretched out for miles on all sides of me. Computer? Where am I? I asked. The GPS didn't answer because I don't live in a Star Trek movie. The clock showed 1 a.m. Flippin' eggs, are you serious? I muttered. I should have been at Kepler Academy hours ago. What was my car thinking driving through the desert at 1 in the stupid idiot morning? The VW sputtered to a stop. The headlights died slowly, leaving me alone in the dark. My door unlocked and popped open by itself. I looked for the North Star, but it was cloudy. My dad and I have this thing. Whenever I'm scared, all I have to do is find that star. We both look at it every night. It's like our way of saying, I miss you to each other, even if we're in different places. Doesn't work when it's cloudy, though. I stared at the empty desert outside my car. And that's when I heard it. The sloppy, chomping sounds of worm-eaters. I grabbed the edge of the car door to shut it, but instead of metal, I felt somebody's fingers. Worm-eaters burst from the darkness, sprinting toward me. No screams, no grunts, just moist feet slapping the dry desert crust. The hand at my door grabbed my wrist and yanked me into the air until I was face to face with her. It was Abigail Cutter. Mangled worms fell from her nasty, chapped lips as her fingers morphed into thick vines that slithered around my neck, suffocating me. I shot forward, eyes shut, drenched in cold sweat, screaming at the top of my lungs. I tried to push Abigail away, but when I opened my eyes, she was gone. I was still in my bed at home. I'll say it again. Nightmare fuel. What the jibs was wrong with me? I pushed the blankets aside and looked out my window. Still black. But that's how it is when you need to get on the road by 4 a.m. Mom flipped on the light. Oh, good, you're up. Your car's outside, she said, excited for my second year at Kepler Academy. way more excited than I was. When I left the academy last year, I was the baddest hero ever. But all that disappeared once I got home. Every time I closed my eyes at night, I saw worm-eaters. I spent most nights wide awake, staring at my door until the sun came up. My parents didn't know about the nightmares, or much of anything that happened last year, including the fact that I was powerless. The only powerless kid at Kepler Academy. They asked me all summer to spill the beans, but all I ever said was, it was fun, because saying, I jumped off a 10-story building to save the school from a Godzilla-sized plant zombie would have given them a panic attack. Or maybe it would have given me one. I had spent the last 3 months dodging their questions by mowing lawns morning till night every single day. Don't be afraid to get down to them roots, boy! The work helped keep my mind off worm-eaters, and I liked the extra cash, too. I thought about blowing it all on a mountain of peanut butter cups, but instead, I saved up and bought myself something nice. After getting dressed and scraping a toothbrush across my teeth, I went outside. Mom stood by the Kepler car as Dad tossed my bags into the trunk. That'll do it, Dad said, messing my hair up. Don't come home this time without a power. I knew he was joking, that he only said it because he believed I already had come back with a power. Joke's on him, though, right? Ugh. Mom knelt and gave me a hug, but I stood there like a stiff doll. She pulled back. Are you all right? I guess, I said. But she saw through me. Hey, it'll be okay. You've already done this once. Going back will be like riding a bike. Once you're there, you'll hardly miss home at all. Even though we'll be missing you like crazy, Dad added. I didn't want them to know I was scared, but I wasn't good at hiding it. Mom hugged me tighter. I know this is hard for you, but you need to know that it's harder for me. I don't want you to go, Ben. I want you to stay here and go to a boring school and sit around our boring house at night. But we both know you can't. Dad put his hand on my head while I squeezed my mom. But I'm scared, I said honestly. Mom smiled. Nothing wrong with that. I'm scared too. Scared that something terrible will happen to you while you're gone. Like jumping off a 10-story building? Being scared just means you get to be brave, Mom said, because we both know you have to go back. You belong there. People spend their entire lives looking for a greater destiny, but yours knocked at our door and invited you to come out to play. We might not know exactly why yet, but you belong at that school. She was right. I had to go back. For her. For my dad. For all the students at the academy. I was the hero who saved the school last year. And what kind of hero goes into hiding after something like that? Chapter 2. 14 hours later, my car was driving through downtown Lost Nation, the city in the valley below Kepler Academy, or at least below where the academy used to be. A woman's voice with a British accent said I was 5 minutes away from my sequel, the new Kepler Academy. Over the summer, I got a letter stating that the school had burned down. The building was a giant log cabin ski lodge, so it was basically made out of firewood. Nobody was hurt, but the building was beyond repair. And after all I did to save it from destruction last year, go figure. The letter also said that 95-year-old headmaster Donald Kepler had stepped down because of health reasons, and that Vice Principal Raymond Archer would replace him. I mean, those aren't tiny changes, like a new paint job or something. Those were King Kong-size changes. It almost felt like starting over again. So that's where I was headed, to the new Kepler Academy, which was apparently somewhere in the butt of Lost Nation. My car turned corner after corner, each street darker than the last, until I was finally on a brick road with flickering street lamps and some shady-looking people. An old hag was pushing a grocery cart full of live chickens. A small group of punk rockers was breakdancing on cardboard, and a short dude wearing an Elvis Presley mask while taking a Polaroid selfie was on a staircase outside a dive called Campion's Diner. The GPS said I still had about 4 miles until my destination. Each mile that passed grew bleaker and bleaker. Finally, my car pulled up to a metal garage door on a warehouse that looked abandoned. Actually, all the buildings on the street looked abandoned. The garage door opened automatically, and my car drove forward, passing a long line of other parked Beetles, until coming to a full stop in front of a goat that stared at me with creepy, horizontal eyes. There are so many "what the heck" moments in my life. Surprisingly, this wasn't one of them. My car door unlocked, and I stepped out with my backpack. "Sup, man?" The goat bobbed his head. "Sup?" He was a friend from last year. His name was Totes, and he was a graduate of Kepler Academy. His superpower was that he transformed into a goat. Full-time style. Not everyone develops useful powers. Totes went to the trunk and swung my bags onto his back. Then he took the lead. "Follow me!" We went to an elevator in a dark corner of the warehouse. "Is the school on the 2nd floor?" I asked. "Nope. We're not going up," Totes said. "We're going down." "Underground?" I sighed. The goat pushed the basement button with his snout. The doors closed, and the elevator dropped. A life without windows. A life of canned food. A life of concrete walls. At the end of the year, I'll climb out of a hole squinting because I forgot what the sun looks like. So much bright. The elevator jerked to a stop. The doors opened half an inch and got stuck, but it was enough to let the sound of screaming kids seep in. The horror. Students were in agony, pain, and suffering. I tried to peek through the slit, but Totes got in the way. "Dumb doors," he said, pushing his head against them. "Every single time today." The goat leaped forward, ramming his horns against the metal. Crunch! The doors clunked and then slid wide open. A blast of cold air pushed into the elevator. My jaw dropped, and I couldn't believe my eyes. "What the junk?" I whispered. Chapter 3. All I could do was stare. At the other side of the elevator doors was the old Kepler Academy, still standing, and still outside. The school had never burned down. The story was a lie. Whoa. Totes dumped my bags onto the grass. "Ben Braver," he said. "Ben Braver," a familiar voice repeated. "Check him off." I stepped out of the elevator and felt the soft earth under my sneakers. Raymond Archer, the new headmaster, was off to my side, wearing a wrinkle-free Hawaiian shirt. Joel, the kid who could open portals the size of a quarter, stood next to him, checking off names on a clipboard. "That's the last of them," Headmaster Archer said. "You can close your portal now, Joel." Joel went to the elevator doors behind me. His glowing portal was propped open using long plastic tent poles, the ones that folded up when you wanted to put them away. He yanked on one of the poles, popping it out of place. The rest fell to the ground.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?